So it's been an emotional like 48 hours. Um, but I don't think I'm done. What's up, YouTube? So you watched the last video, you saw what happened, you heard what happened. I am still selling the majority of the reptiles. Um, so as long as I don't sell anything for business use, I can keep my pets. So the hog noses are obviously staying. They don't cost much to feed. The boas, you only really have to feed the adult boas like once a month. As long as I'm not breeding them, I should be okay. Um, as everyone knows, if you have bearded dragons, you know this. Bearded dragons are not cheap to feed, um, especially when you're breeding. The babies are expensive to feed. I cannot afford to feed all of these animals, so I do still have to get rid of the majority of the reptiles. The ball pythons still have to go. I would say maybe like 75% of the bearded dragons have to go. So this building will essentially be converted to something else. The reptiles are obviously still going to be in here. I'm not going to be selling reptiles for a long time until I can move somewhere and have them in my basement, because apparently that's the only way you can have an in-home small business. I cannot not afford any place to lease. They're too expensive, and literally you talk to someone about leasing a place, you mention live animals, they stop returning your messages or your texts or your calls or whatever. And that's what I have dealt with twice now this week. And I knew for a fact that this wasn't going to be something that I could do. I knew that this was going to be something that was going to take more than a week in terms of fixing the issue, and there's no way that I can decide what to do in a week that's not selling the reptiles. And I'm pretty sure that's exactly why a week was the deadline, because they knew that I wasn't going to be able to find a place to lease in a week. They knew I wasn't going to be able to move to a different house in a week, so they gave us a week, or gave me a week. So the ball pythons obviously have to go. There's nothing I can do about the ball pythons. I was already going to be getting rid of the majority of the ball pythons, keeping the tri-stripe and DG VPI pied snakes. But the tri-stripe snakes already sold. That's literally, there's not many people working tri-stripe, so whenever I posted the collection, that was the first thing that somebody asked about. So that's kind of sucks. Luckily for me, I'm able to keep at least the world's first that I produce, because again, snakes don't cost a whole lot of money to take care of. I just, I don't want to take care of 80 snakes every month without being able to sell something, So I am keeping the world's first snake that I produce. I'm not sure if you guys have seen her in a while. Let me get her out. So she just busted out a shed, but this is the world's first that I produce. Tri-stripe. Every other morph out there essentially was already made. So this one here, this is Ender, and she is a fire yellow belly banana tri-stripe. I did have her listed for about $5,000, but I decided I'm never going to be able to get her again, more than likely. So I don't care to keep her. I know it sounds like, oh, he could have sold the snake for $5,000. Finding a buyer for $5,000 snakes is impossible sometimes. So I just decided to keep her. And she looks amazing, so I'm not mad about it. So what is the plan, and how do I go from here? How do I continue from here? Now, my wife made it. I was literally like, I can't make YouTube videos anymore. Like, this is not gonna be possible. She's like, well, if you're keeping reptiles, you can still make YouTube videos. They just won't be, all the time like you were making them before, and they're not gonna be about breeding because you're not gonna be able to breed. So, what can I make YouTube videos about? So I decided I'm just gonna incorporate some So if you guys haven't seen the other, I don't know if you guys are on Instagram or Facebook on my page, but I also have another page called the Ethical Reptile Breeders Association, ERBA. And literally all that page is used for is when somebody tells me something a breeder did, good or bad, I'll share it. And I guess I can do that on YouTube as well. Just share experiences that other people have had. Maybe I'll blur out names, maybe I won't, but obviously that means their videos aren't going to happen as often as they could have happened with obviously a breeding channel. So I'll still have some bearded dragons. I'll still have some snakes. So here's how do I recover from this. The good thing is if I sell mostly everything, I will have a good bit of money that I can feed the things that I keep for a long time without having to go out of pocket for it. So the decision I have made is that if I sell the majority of everything in a timely manner, and I can keep the things that matter to me, like for example, this dragon here. So this is Dahlia. Come on, calm down. Look at her, mad. She was just laying down asleep. But this is Dahlia here, and obviously her color is not great right now because she was just sleeping. But everyone, as soon as I posted I was selling dragons, literally everyone was like, "You gonna sell this dragon?" I cannot. I sold this dragon once. She came back to me. I regretted it the first time I sold her, and I'm never going to sell her again. She is like my favorite dragon. She gets skittish a little bit. She gets mad sometimes, but personality is not what I'm looking for, okay? She is a beautiful dragon. I've produced her. I've never had a dragon like that before. And that's literally why most people start breeding. They start breeding because they want to produce something that they can't buy themselves or can't find. And I couldn't find a dragon like that to save my life. This is literally, without Wiblets and Zero, that has everything bearded dragons can have. It has hypo, translucent, leatherback, dunner, tiger, genetic stripe. Aside from being yellow and not red, it has almost everything a bearded dragon can have besides Zero and Wiblets. So I think that is the reason I'm keeping her, is because one day if I decide to start breeding again, whether it be next year or the year after, because it's not going to be anytime soon, I have to literally figure out a different way to make this happen, because leasing a place is not going to work and selling everything is the only way that it can work. So the only thing that I can do is try to move somewhere where I can have them in a basement. And a lot of people have asked, well, why don't you connect this building to your house and then make it a connected, I can't do that. This building's like 200 feet away from my house. There's no way I can connect this building. A lot of people said, well, start taking donations instead of selling the animals. Anything that is a profit, whether it be a donation or whatever, it's considered a business, even if it's like a non-profit. If you literally have money coming in for a product, it's considered a business. So there's a lot. I've tried talking to 3 different lawyers. Every time I got to the lawyer, after they called me back, because the receptionist was like, oh, take your number, blah, blah, blah. The lawyer literally heard my story and they're like, sorry, we can't help you. I'm like, damn, like, why? Like, what's the reason? Like, what's going on? I guess it's because it's like zoning laws. It's detailed. You can't go around it. There's no loopholes or something. I don't know what the deal is, but apparently there was a loophole for me to be dealt with like this, because if this is technically my home, this is on my property, this can be considered an in-home business because it's outside of the home. That doesn't make any sense. Makes no sense. But I didn't make the laws. I didn't make the rules. That's just that's the hand I was dealt with. And that's just how, what is it that they said in the Jim Carrey movie? He said, that's just how the cookie crumbles, or something like that. So that is how it is. So this is how I'm going to recoup. Because I have to sell the majority of the dragons, what I'm going to do is, I can't breed for a while anyways. Some of these dragons are a little older than the dragons that I would keep. Not that they won't breed. I can still technically breed most of these dragons for 3 more years. But if I can't breed for 1 or 2 years, that dragon is no longer going to be a breeder by the time I can start breeding. So those have to be the ones that I decide to sell first. And then from there, I'll decide what I'm going to keep. So Dahlia is one dragon that I'm going to keep. Mercules is another dragon I'm going to keep. So let me show you Mercules real quick. So Mercules is a Hypo Wiblets, and so far he's only, so the female I paired him to is a Hypo Leatherback Genetic Stripe Het Trans, and only one egg out of each clutch that she laid has made it. And both of them were females, and one of them was translucent and the other one was not. But both of them were genetic stripes because the female's a genetic stripe. But it was crazy. I was like, my goodness, I can't get nothing out of these. So I got 2 females, a Hypo Trans Leatherback, genetic stripe, Het Wiblets, and I got another female, a Hypo genetic stripe, Het Trans, or not Het Trans, 66% Het Trans, Het Wiblets. So we should have something for the future, because I will probably be keeping both of those dragons. And then I also have another holdback that is from Akil. Akil was a Hypo Leather Dunner genetic stripe Tiger Het Wiro, and he produced some babies. I got Wiblets out of the clutch, but they didn't make it. This was around the time that all my clutches were infested with gnats. And the baby that I decided to keep out of that clutch is a Hypo Trans Leatherback Dunner genetic stripe Het, or 66% Het Wiblets, 50% Het Zero. So if anything, I could essentially pair that dragon to the female that I just hatched and make Wiblets if he proves out. And if he doesn't prove out, you know, at least I'll make some nice Thunderbolts, because they'll be both genetic stripes. So for the majority of the dragons, they will all be for sale. So I will be keeping some adults, maybe 2 or 3 adults, and then everything else is going to be holdbacks from this year, because by the time I'm able to start breeding again, these holdbacks will be of age, and then I will have fresh stock to breed from, and it'll be animals, stock, I guess you could call it, bloodlines from me. So that'll be literally the entire reason like I got so emotional, was because I've worked so hard to have animals that came from me, that I created, that I specifically chose genetics for and bloodlines for, and I'm not going to be able to have them. So doing it this way, I'm able to keep my bloodlines and also put myself in a position where in a couple years I can start breeding again. So that is essentially where I'm at. And the snakes that I'm keeping, I will, like hognoses, because I want to be considered a hognose breeder, right? And I can't breed hognoses. What I'm going to do with the hognoses is I'm still going to keep the baby rack for the snakes. I will be breeding hognoses for myself to keep the snakes that I breed. And the reason I'm doing that is because, so right now I have 3 holdbacks of hognoses already, and hognoses take about 3 years to start breeding. So that puts me in a position for hognoses as well. And so this year will be like, I'm breeding the hognoses, I'm breeding the boas. I will keep most of them, and the ones that I don't keep, I will just do like down low selling, cash only type of deal, just to get them out. And then that would be the last time I breed, because I literally, even if they tell me a week from now, or a week from Wednesday, so next Wednesday, even if they tell me, hey, have you sold anything? I have technically started selling stuff. So I'm hoping, I'm going to call them, what time is it? They just got off of lunch. So I'm going to call them after this video and see if that's okay. Like I can just continually sell everything and stop breeding. Because the things that I'm waiting for, I did that before they told me this. So like I have a boa that's literally due to give birth any day now. Any day now. And then what am I supposed to do? Just give the babies away? No, that's not possible. They have to be established. They have to eat. They have to do all this stuff before I can even decide that they can leave. And that might be months from now. So they're obviously going to have to wait for that anyways. And the director of the zoning committee pulled up my YouTube channel, pulled up my Instagram, pulled up my Facebook and website and everything. So if he's watching this video, just know the call's coming. Actually, you'll probably get the call before the video even goes out. So just know I already talked to you about this, because that's the only way I can make this happen. There's no way I can sell 100 animals in a week. Like that's impossible. So yeah. So while I am selling about 75% of everything that I have, I will essentially still have reptiles. And Wednesday, when I was told I had to sell everything, this was literally like just a rush of emotions. I was just like, oh my gosh, I have to sell everything. Everything just hit me. I felt so destroyed. I felt so heartbroken. And I still feel heartbroken, but I think I'll be okay, especially the way I'm thinking about doing it, like just keeping the things that I produced this year. I mean, I have no clue, probably like 200, no, not 200, definitely over 100 babies. And I just have to figure out how I'm going to get rid of them. I was thinking of doing like little small groups of wholesale. So if anybody's looking for wholesale babies, they're going to be cheap because I have to move them quick. Because the babies do take a lot longer to sell than adults do. Adults, once you post them, they're gone. But babies take a little bit longer because the adults are obviously being purchased by breeders. So I will be posting adults. As soon as this video goes up, you will start seeing adult bearded dragons get listed. It'll be like 1 or 2 pictures, not a lot of information. I'm trying to make this quick. So I'll put the birth date, I'll put the genetics, and that's it. That's all you're going to get from me. Maybe I'll even put that they're proven breeders, but I'm not going to go into detail of what they eat, what to do, how this, that. If you don't want them, you don't want them. Somebody else will want them. I mean, you guys have seen most of my dragons at this point. You should know what I have. You should know that they're healthy. I'm not going to try to sell anything that's sick just to get rid of it. Everything that is sick has been quarantined for a while now. I haven't seen anything really happening with the ones that are sick. So I have one that's still kind of coughing. I'm still working on her. But the other ones that were coughing have stopped coughing. So they're all pretty much good at this point. And that's essentially where we're at. So the one that's still coughing is not going anywhere until she's completely healthy, because I'm not that type of person where I will sell something that's sick. So I've always prided myself of selling healthy animals. I provide 30-day health guarantees. That's almost unheard of. Most people provide 2 weeks. I provide an entire month because I have that much, I guess, confidence in my animals. And even if I have had one instance where an animal died within the 30 days, I literally sent him a more expensive animal, no questions asked. He sent me a picture of the animal, and it's clearly passed away. I sent him a free animal. No questions asked. It was a bearded dragon that he bought. I did send him a bearded dragon, but I told him, you can pick anything you want. If you don't want another bearded dragon, you can pick anything you want. I'll send it to you. And I did. And he is still a customer to this day. He actually bought more dragons after that, just because of that one experience he had with me. So that's just the type of person I am. And in 2 years, hopefully I'm back. Hopefully I'm back to breeding in 2 years. Because, so for the people that have never bred anything before, or even have kids, so I'll say this: whenever there's like a sense of accomplishment. Whenever, obviously, I'm not the one giving birth to eggs or laying eggs or nothing, but I'm the one putting animals together. I'm the one deciding which animals. So I don't want to say I'm playing God, but I am definitely playing a huge part in this operation. So with that said, I am essentially making sure that things are produced a certain way. And with kids, obviously it's a whole lot different with kids, but you do feel a sense of accomplishment when you have a child. It's like a completely different feeling than you will ever have if you have a child. And like, it's crazy. And I have 3 kids now, so it's a different feeling. And I've had it 3 times, and it feels great every single time. And with the bearded dragons and the snakes, it's obviously not as good of a feeling as having a kid, but it's definitely a feeling like, oh my gosh, look what I was able to create with the help of these 2 animals that I decided to put together, you know? And obviously there's a lot of odds and percentages and everything that goes into it. So you may not even get what you're wanting to get, but then you get it and you're like, wow, look at this. Like that world's first, I was never thinking of getting a world's first snake. I was always thinking, you know, I'll get some tri-stripes and they'll be great. Hopefully I'll get some banana females because that'll be awesome. And I did. I got 2 banana tri-stripe females. One of them happened to be a world's first. Like, that's never probably going to happen to me again. You know how many ball python breeders there are out there? A world's first is pretty much, well, if you're dealing with like super new codoms or something like that, you'll hit a lot of world's first. But if you're dealing with recessives, hitting world's first is a little bit harder because it usually takes about 2 or 3 years to even get the world's first, due to having to work those morphs into recessives first. So I was so excited to hit that because, you know, I said, I do have another world's first. Not confirmed though, because he is an Inchy Pinstripe Mahogany. That's what I have him as. But I can't be 100% certain he is Mahogany. If he is, then it's a world's first. If he's not, then he's not a world's first. So I think there is a shed test now for Mahogany, but there's no reason for me to do a shed test now if I'm not going to be keeping my ball pythons. So, but that's really all I'm at. So I guess for here on out, the videos I will make are what I expect to do in 2 years. What I expect to accomplish in 2 years. Because I'll talk about all the dragons that I decided to keep from the 2025 breedings. I'll talk about the dragons that I decided to keep from the breeders I have. That's pretty much all I can tell you guys that's going to happen for the next 2 years in terms of YouTube videos. You're going to get a lot of what I have already. Luckily for me, I have like 400 and something videos already on YouTube. So it's not going to be a huge shock to people. And I'll try to post at least once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks. I'll be doing like, you know, stories of what people have told me about different breeders. You know, I hate to talk about other breeders, but I think at this point in the community, if you aren't doing the right thing, I think everyone should be aware of it. If you're editing your pictures, if you're selling sick animals, if you're just doing unethical things, everyone should know about it. I think at this point, if you haven't figured out how to be a good breeder, you shouldn't have customers. That's all I got to say. So with all that said, you know, I appreciate you guys. I really do. This last video I posted, I never expected to get the support that I got. I never expected to get like people that were trying to help me, offering like if I was closer, I'd give you my home and or not give you, but I'd let you use a room in my house if I had space, blah, blah, blah. And that, I mean, obviously I would never take up anyone on that offer because I would never want to put somebody in that situation. But it was just nice to have people to say something like that, you know? And so yeah, I really do appreciate every single one of you. This has been a terrible week. I'm not even gonna lie. It's just been emotional, you know. It's only been 2 days. I said a week. It's only been 2 days. It felt like forever. It's been an emotional 2 days. And my brother's coming into town today, so you know that'll be a good little different thing for at least 3 days. He leaves in 3 days, but it'll be better than, you know, just like obviously I have my wife and kids, so that obviously keeps me distracted. But whenever I come back here and I have to clean, it's when everything gets. I'm not gonna lie. Ever since that happened, I haven't really come back here. Every time I come back here, I get emotional. So I haven't really wanted to come back here, but I know how to check on babies. I know how to check on eggs hatching. Like I just came back here to check on eggs before I put this video up. I have an entire clutch in there that's hatched that I have to pull out now. And I will be just picking out holdbacks at this point. Picking out holdbacks and start listing wholesale. And obviously they won't be able to ship them. I won't be able to ship them until they start eating on their own. But just know, because of the situation, because of the circumstances, you will be getting wholesale babies that are not fully established. And I will 100% make that clear on YouTube, on the ads, on everything. Because of the situation, I will not be able to wait 2 months for babies to be established before I can ship them. This is a really weird thing for me to say. There's not even going to be a 30-day health guarantee because there's no way I can guarantee that. So if you don't mind risking it, obviously I will make sure they're eating. I will make sure they're growing, gaining weight. But other than that, just know there's no health guarantee. Like this is not something I can possibly do. It's not feasible for me to do that within the situation that I'm in. So with all that said, I really do appreciate everybody. If you made it this far into the video, you know, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything that I put out in the future. As always, peace. I'm glad I'll still at least have YouTube, even though I won't be able to breed. So there you go.